My name is Yomi Oyenuga, and I'm with ICIT Solutions. I'm the Zoho implementation specialist, and I'm going to be taking you through, I'll say, some of the Zoho products because there are quite a lot. But for the sake of this training, I'm going to talk about the products which already have some integrations on them, so we can actually go through most of the features and how they can benefit our clients. So as you can see on the presentation, these are just a few of the products that Zoho offers. Zoho One, which is a suite of products that work collectively to run an entire business on the cloud. Then all these other products practically are under Zoho One, but I'm just going to go through some of them one by one and then we'll talk about them. So as I said before, Zoho One is a collective set of applications that work collectively to run an entire business on the cloud. So going into the application itself, hello, I don't know, can anyone see my screen? Can anyone see where I am right now? Hello? I'm just trying to confirm if I'm not talking to myself.
I see your screen.
All right, thank you. So as I mentioned, Zoho One is practically like the application that helps you manage all other Zoho applications, like based on the licenses you purchased. So as I am here now, I'm on the Zoho One at homepage, right, as a user, and I'm the admin here. So I have access to all my products I've paid for, all my other Zoho products I've paid for here. So this is just a list of all this is just a list of some of the Zoho products. There's still a lot more, but this is a list of the products associated to this account. This is my account here. So if I come to the admin panel, this is where we see all the admin features and capabilities of Zoho One. So this is my dashboard. It just shows me basic information, like practically users I have under my license as well. So what I'm supposed to explain is basically how licensing works. Like if in Zoho One, it depends on the number of license you buy, that you can also add users under you. So it's going to show you like specific amounts of licenses you have and then users associated to that license as well. So it's basically like a report of how your licenses have been allocated to users. Speaking of users, this is just, this is like our internal so I don't really want to show much about it, but it just shows the users under your account. And click to organization. This just shows the organization profile which you use to register under Zoho, and it shows you all the information. You can edit it anytime you want to, because this will come in handy when you will actually start using some of the products, whereby you may be sending out stuff like maybe invoices and stuff. So you won't have to put it in. It just fetches your organization, your name and everything, your information, and it puts it in the invoice, for example. So yeah, when it comes to admin, this is where you specify an admin under your account. Let me say an account here. So in this case, this is the super admin here. And then if you want to add other admins to specific products, then we come here to service admins. So we start allocating other admins like to other specific products under the Zoho One package. For example, we choose the CRM. Now we made these two people admins under the CRM. So they only have access to admin features under CRM, but not the whole Zoho One platform, which has all the other applications and so on. So it just goes on that way. So it associates it to other products as well. Sorry, excuse me. So it just goes the same way for any other product. So you just choose to select who you want to have access to what application under your Zoho One account. And you can create custom groups as well. But we don't have any of we didn't actually need that, so that's why there's no group here. But you can always add a new group to make it easy for you to just allocate feature applications and all to certain users and all. So you can just call it something. For example, what the highlighted example here, you can call it that. I mean, I don't want to really have to put in anything right now since it's just for a demo. So you can put in whatever you want to put in the description. Then you put in the type of group it is, and you add members. Hello?
Me, it looks like Chinyere raised her hand. She might have a question.
Okay. All right.
No, sorry, I didn't raise my hand. I think it was a mistake.
Oh, okay.
Okay. All right. All right. So yeah. So as I was saying, this is where you just basically add groups under a specific organization. You have your users and everything. So you just group them into a custom group and you name it, and then you assign applications and whatever you want to assign to them based on groups instead of doing it individually. So and before I think I forgot to mention, so there are some specific features of Zoho products where it takes quite some sort of integration and like a lot of integration. So we may not have some of them for some of the products right now. So I may not be able to show you all of those features. So for that kind of should I say training, we may have to, should I say, set up a targeted training for some of those features and products as well. So if you notice, there may be some I may just like go over and just talk briefly about them because I cannot really show much about them right now. So I think that really does that about Zoho 1. So it's basically just how to like help you manage all of your Zoho products if you don't want to, because there are options to have specific Zoho products. Like you may only want to get Zoho CRM and maybe Zoho books, like the financial. You may not really need Zoho 1. Is Zoho 1 subscription for that. You may just have just this and this. So you may not really need Zoho 1. But for an enterprise, let's say that needs like a lot of all these applications, so they may go for the Zoho 1, what's it called, plan, and have all of these features in. So for them to be able to manage all of them in one place, that's where Zoho 1 comes in. It's not really like, it's just basically like a suite of apps and helps you, like it makes them work together to manage your business. And basically that's just how Zoho products work. Most of them like work together. That's what brings out the beauty in Zoho products. They all work together to make your business a lot more seamless.
Yeah, and I want to add that Zoho 1 basically is the equivalent of what you'll call an ERP, Enterprise Resource Management resource planning system. So an ERP is usually a system that people, a lot of businesses use to run the entire business from marketing, sales, operations, accounting, the reporting for executives. They have, instead of having to have different systems, your typical business might have maybe all of their sales use Excel to basically track their sales, and the accounting department use QuickBooks, and maybe they have another system that they use for operations. Or a lot of them actually even just manually use paper. It's paper-based process where they manually basically use to track their operations and stuff like that. And their reports is based off of Excel and Word that they actually use to actually report up to management. Zoho 1 allows you to basically have one system that you can actually have this different suite of apps that they work together to actually manage your entire business. So your sales departments will basically have CRM, and also even some of your operations department will have that. Your support, the operations may also have Zoho Desk to be able to actually track issues that their customers are having for support. Your accounting will have Zoho Books to actually manage the finances, and there is Zoho Analytics that your IT and also the IT department of the company can actually use Zoho Desk as well to be able to actually or if there's a warehouse involved, maybe the company has a warehouse, they'll use Zoho Inventory to be able to actually manage the warehouse. And all of these apps work together so that they share information with one another. They are connected, and it allows you to basically just have this platform called Zoho One to basically manage all of your business. And based on what your customers what the users actually need, or the kind of function that they actually perform in the business, will determine what the screen that Yomi is actually showing you right now looks like for that user. Because if it's a user in the accounting department, they may only have, when they log in, they're only going to see books, analytics, and maybe CRM, maybe not. But sales is not going to see, when a salesperson logs in, all they might see is CRM. That's it. But when the IT department logs in, all they might see is desk to be able to actually manage IT support tickets. Or in the case of another salesperson, they might see CRM and Zoho or meeting a notebook so that they can actually be able to actually meet with prospective clients and take notes, for example. So that's really the beauty of Zoho One, is literally basically having a one system that you can use to basically manage your entire business. So just wanted to add that. Back over to you, Yomi.
All right, thank you very much, Kumar. So I think I'm going to be going into actually the first application, which is Zoho Books. So basically, Zoho Books is an accounting software basically for small businesses to manage their finances, as it shows here. And it has a group of set of features that help you seamlessly manage your financial activities as well. And before I go into this, I'm going to basically say, so some of these products I'm going to be showing already have certain integrations as well. For example, because I know there might be some confusions if we see Zoho Finance and I don't really go into the application, because basically Zoho Finance is basically like a suite of accounting softwares that I'm going to be showing already in Zoho Books, where we have the invoices, the expenses, inventory tracking, and all of those things. Then I may just go into subscriptions as a separate application as well to show you how it actually works and how it can benefit.
Hello, Yomi.
Yep.
Okay, I raised my hand up for a while. I just wanted to find out under Zoho, if I have some apps running in other departments, I guess you can connect or that in the API, you can hook up. If I just need Zoho Books or just Zoho Finance, my existing CRM, the API to connect.
Yes, definitely. Yes, you can integrate it. Yes, sure.
Right.
Yeah, there, and I would like to also address that as well. There are not only that there are APIs, Zoho actually has different integration built in with other apps as well that is outside of the Zoho ecosystem. So, for example, Zoho Books actually has a built-in integration with Zoho QuickBooks. Or in the case, there's a Zoho marketplace where you can actually go in and see all of the different integration they actually have with Microsoft 365, QuickBooks, and a lot of notable apps out there. And they also have a concept of connector, where you don't even need to use APIs. Let's say you're not a programmer and you want to basically get two apps connected together. There's a product called Zoho Flow that you can use to basically just drag and drop and have just basically get some out of the box connectivity with other systems to actually share information.
Thanks, that was great.
All right.
It's very flexible. Thank you.
All right, so as I was saying regarding Zoho Book, so Zoho Book is basically an accounting software on the cloud that helps businesses to manage their financial activities as well. And then, as stated here, these are the benefits: payments, expenses, automated banking. You can track inventory in real time, also create client portals and reporting to give feedback on how on financial status and all. So from Zoho, you can just access our books. Okay, so this is our Zoho books. This is basically how it looks. This is the home page, and then this is our dashboard. And I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but Zoho is like I would say completely customizable. You can have any view. You can make any view how you like it. Should I say you can customize this dashboard to show you, for example, here it shows total receivables, total payables, and all. You can show should I say customers or invoices or pending invoices or whatever you want to show. You can always customize it within the Zoho platform as well. It's completely customizable. So this is our dashboard, and it shows us what we want to see. It shows us our total receivables, total payables, and whatever it is we want to see, our income and our expenses and everything. So this is just what I as a user, this is what I want to see every time I log in. So that's why my dashboard is like this. So come to items, basically where we put in whatever we offer. For example, if the user right here is a should I say a vendor or an iron vendor or something, he sells iron stuff, or basically whatever the person is, so you can just come here to create whatever it is. And also you can also basically import items as well in bulk. But let me just show you how you create a single item. You can come here to create, let's say, and then you have to have the the stock keeping unit, which is the unique identifier of that particular item in your, should I say, in your system. So let's just call it. Alright, so no other product can have this particular value, because this is a unique identifier. And then you want to give it a unit. So let's say, oh, it's in gram already. Okay, so let's just do this. Or like, I mean, I think we get what I'm trying to do here. You just, however you want to create this particular product, and then all of these here are custom fields. They don't exist normally. These are fields which I created specifically in my own should I say environment, because I needed this. But this is not what all these are not always going to be here. They're just custom fields that were created. So you come here and you put in the purchase information if you want to track your loss and your profit. So if I say I bought this for, let's say 5,000 naira, and I want to sell it for 5,500, so I specify everything here, and I put in the tax. So as I mentioned before, Zoho is basically an application. It's basically a suite of softwares where most of them have to like communicate with each other for you to get the best out of it. If you remember here, I mentioned something about Zoho Books and then Zoho Finance, where you may be wondering why I'm not showing you a separate app called Zoho Finance, where it's basically a suite of other accounting applications like invoice, inventory, subscriptions, and so on. So in this case, I think for this account, I don't have Zoho inventory license, so it's not allowing me to do this. What I'm trying to say is basically the Zoho inventory is a separate application as well, but it's kind of having you integrated with this, so you can also track inventory as well as your cost of goods and everything on this same platform. So it's basically allowing you, basically, should I say, suggesting you to make them talk to each other here as well already. So for now, we don't have inventory associated to this account, so I'm just going to create this. So now I have a new product called Iron. You can create a custom price list listing all the prices of all your products in your listing. But for here, there's no one. For the sake of this demo, there's nothing here. So let me just let's call it. And I only created one product called Iron. I mean, I could have created more, but just for the sake of this and time. So so when you do, you basically select the currency, which is obviously Nigeria, Nigerian Naira, and then you can associate one of the products here. I'm trying to look for the Iron so I don't break anything. Okay. I'm sorry, I just lost track of that item I just created again. That's why it's taking a bit of time. So I'm just doing this for the sake of demo. So I hope we basically get what I just tried to do here. So I created a custom price list for Iron products. So if I add more Iron products, I won't have to keep on, I can just associate them to this list here. So and then we have inventory. Okay.
Sorry, Yomi, we have somebody raising his or her hand. I don't know, Anolusha. Do you have a question regarding what he's showing?
Basically, my question is on the Zoho one. I've been trying to raise hands since when they finished making presentation on Zoho one. Hello, I don't know if I can go ahead now after this presentation. Hello?
Okay, maybe let him. Maybe he can finish on the Zoho books, and we'll take the question about the Zoho one.
Okay, all right then. Okay, no problem.
Thank you.
All right. So as I mentioned for the inventory adjustments, this relates to the inventory feature I mentioned earlier on. So we don't have that right now, so I'll just go ahead and move over to the banking part of it. So here you can connect, you can basically track your actual real-time bank activities and relate it to your Zoho books software as well. So here we do add bank or credit card. So I'll just show you the options. So price click, these are like the default banks that Zoho book supports. But there's also a way to actually, I know it's going to take a lot of should I say security and APIs and all to actually get this working, but it's very possible to actually link our Nigerian banks as well to Zoho books to make it easy for us to actually track most of the financial activities within the organization as well. So I mean, I won't actually go through this, but I just wanted to show you the view of how it is. So if you have this, I mean, I don't have an account code right now, but we fill everything in here, and then it's going to actually, when we save it, it's going to submit it for verification, and then it goes on to, should I say furthermore, what's the word I'll use here? Anyways, basically to just verify the bank, and then other security things are going to come in for it to be legit because of how sensitive the whole situation is, and the bank, anything bank related. So come to sales. Here we track all the activities regarding sales, where you manage your customers. These are existing customers, which are all like dummy customers here, and then if you want to add a new customer, you just come here, create a new customer. If it's an individual, state it. If it's a business, state it, and then put in all the required information. And then save the customer. So any transaction associated to that customer, we won't have to be adding every time. We just basically make it a lookup. So, for example, let's use this customer now. Let's say 1977 HHD is a customer. So, anytime something comes up and he comes into our system, like we don't have to add him as a new customer. We'll just reference his name here since we have him in our system already. As we mentioned, to estimate, this is basically another, should I say, Zoho application. It's another feature. We have estimates as well, but it's already integrated with Zoho books here, so that's why we have some of our estimates in here. So estimates, existing estimates show here. This is where we manage estimates, and we can create new ones from within the Zoho books as well. So as I mentioned, I won't really be filling up all of these things out for the sake of time. So just show you how it looks, and then you put in all the information required and you save it. And then if you want to send it out, you can send it out, or you can save and send as a draft. You can save as a draft, or you can save and send immediately, depending on your user requirements as well. So this is another feature where I'll have to go too in depth in. So I think I might have to leave this for now. I'll have sales orders as well. You can create sales orders from within Zoho books as well. And if you have existing sales orders, they will all appear here. The way estimates showed as a list right here, this is how existing sales orders are going to also appear. So you can create new ones. And if you have an existing, should I say maybe another application, for example, like a CRM, and you have an existing sales order there, and they're already integrated, everything you have there, all your customers, all your sales orders, everything in the CRM is going to appear here automatically because they are synced. So as I was saying, create a new sales order, call it regarding the particular customer. So let's say, where's that I want to use as an example, I've forgotten the name, but yeah, whichever customer it is, you can look it up from here and then select the customer, and then you put in other things here. So everything, add the line, add the particular product the person wants to buy, specifying all of the information regarding the sales order, and then save it. So as I mentioned too, for the estimate, you can also save as a draft, or you can save and send immediately, depending on your choice. We also have invoices as well. The same thing with all of them as well. So our existing invoices, come here. So we can, for reference sake, or for if they are paid or if they're not paid, or the ones that are overdue, you see everything here. And if you want to add a new invoice, so simply the same way, click on the plus sign, create a new invoice, specifying the customer related to it, and then all the necessary information regarding the invoice. You can save as draft, save as sent. And for this option here as well, it's also showing us the payment gateways that we can also integrate payment gateways to get paid faster into the Zoho book. So instead of us sending out the invoice and everything, we can send it out with when it's associated to our payment gateway. So the payouts and the payments comes in, what's it called, the payment information and everything comes in directly into our Zoho books. We won't have to actually start logging in payment information and everything manually if we've integrated the payment gateway to the Zoho books. So I just have to mention that. So I think we can see the pattern here. It just goes the same way for all the other features of this. The payment received is also logging in and payment received and everything, adding new ones, and then existing ones just show you for you to keep track of it and manage all of them. Same with recurring invoices and credit notes as well. So it's just I think we can see the pattern here. It's just for every particular feature. It's just for managing and adding or creating or deleting, for just tracking and reference purposes. Same with purchase orders, and you can create and send out or create and save bills and everything. The same thing too. So this is a feature too to help support the accountants in the organization when they can create journals. Sorry, this will require a lot of information, but I can't do that now. Basically, this feature is just to support the accountant, make a lot of his work easier, right? And then tracking most of the activities through Zoho books. And then most importantly, you can generate reports of everything. You can create customized reports, maybe goods sold or invoices, should I say overdue invoices, whatever, what's it called? And there are already default reports from the CRM already, from the Zoho books already, where you can just click on them. If you don't want to create custom ones, there are lots there you can just generate. Yeah, but because we don't have that information here, there's nothing here. So let me go back and try to look for one that has. Let me see. Okay, let's click on this. It seems there's no information there as well. So, but what I'm just basically trying to show is you can simply customize the reports regarding whichever part of the financial environment, the Zoho books, whatever information you want to actually filter out, you can easily filter out with this, and then it gives you the specific information. So this shows us the list of our invoices from last month to, from 1st of August to ending of August. So that was just an example I just created. So it brings it out. So we can export this report if we want to export it out in a CSV file or XLS, or we can also mail it out, or depending, you can print it out as well, depending on the user preference, as I mentioned before. So I think that's just that about Zoho books. And we can also go more in like deep into the particular product, but we're going to have to schedule a targeted training for each of these products because they are quite lime. The information is quite a lot, and I don't want to actually bring up information overload right now. So
Yomi,
yeah.
You just wanted to, can we go through the settings so we can talk about the automation aspect of it, how we can automate business processes, because I really think that's important.
Okay.
So like, for example, in this case, we can build workflows. Like, for example, if you want to basically email out, if you want to send email to a customer whenever you send out an invoice and you want to have that email customized, or you want to send an alert out to, a specific person in your organization to pay a bill or to process a sales order, you can always do that here. Let's use sales order for example. Like, hey, when a new sales order comes in, you want to automatically send that you want to send the maybe the warehouse manager an alert to go ahead and actually start picking the product and shipping the product out. You can actually build that workflow here instead of someone having to basically email him or pick up the phone to call him. It automatically does that. Or if, let's say, you basically have a sales order coming and you want to check that sales order to make sure that you have the product in inventory, but let's say you don't, and you want to automatically send a purchase order to your vendor so that they can actually go ahead and actually ship that product to you automatically. You can do that here through the automation process, where you can actually check to see if the adjustments, actually, if you go to adjustment, the adjustment is can be the adjustment could be tied to the actual inventory. Let's say if it's great, if you can say, hey, if it's less than 10, for example. All right, so if in that case, you can then say, hey, go ahead and actually email my vendor, the product vendor, so which is the action you want to take. So
basically, yeah, we create a custom.
You have to create it, yeah. So we don't need to go into that detail,
right.
But it's more of, we just want to explain how we can automate tasks. This is something that in a typical business, this is something that what you call a dispatch would do. They have to hire someone to basically do this work. But we automating it for them. They don't have to hire that person. That's a salary they're saving. And also it's more efficient because now they don't have to actually keep unnecessary inventory in their warehouse, because they can actually keep just what they need, and they can because they know that, hey, as long as we sell, and once you get below the threshold of 10 of this item, we basically need to kick out an email to the vendor to actually send us another 20. So they're saving, they're basically saving shelf life on inventory. I mean, it makes them very, very productive, and also it's saving them a lot of money, and in different aspects. So I just wanted to share that.
Yeah. So if there are more questions regarding any automation or anything, so when we're done,
and also but I understand there's more questions after, but I think sometimes it's best to just address them while you right here, and if they have other questions, they can they can ask as well. So if you go ahead and cancel, just cancel out of go ahead and cancel out of that, and let's also show all of the integrations that it comes out of the box with Zoho books. there are other, as you can see, there's, other different, automation that you can do. Is a list of them. But if you go to integration and click on, click on other apps. There's the one for Zoho because they all talk to each other, but click on other apps. So you can, so scroll up. So there's there's that, and there's also SMS. Like if you want to SMS customers from within Zoho, let's say a customer basically pay, you want to send reminders to a customer via SMS. You can actually integrate. You can have SMS integration. I think Twilio is actually what they use to actually send the SMS to the customer that your bill is due or is going to be due in 7 days, or hey, here's a link to your invoice. Go ahead and actually pay online. All right, that's all I wanted to just add. And does anyone have any questions? Okay, looks like no one is raising their hands, so I'm gonna assume no questions.
Okay, so.
And one more thing about Zoho Books,
I don't know if they forgot to click it back down.
Those answers been up for a while, so I think they just I think those are that's by accident. Another thing I want to basically highlight on Zoho Books is it's perfect for a small business that currently don't have an accounting system. They actually basically do all their accounting manually right now. The price for there's a before you get to Zoho Finance, Yomi, Zoho Finance actually is is good for small business as well. But there's the Zoho for a very affordable price. You can actually have a small business automate, and run their business efficiently, rather than them basically writing down on paper, and they have to actually hire people to basically push all of this paper and stuff like that. They can save the cost of an employee by just basically having Zoho Books, regardless how small they are, and and is for the fraction of the cost. So if you have any small business in mind, regardless of how small, I will recommend that you basically engage them on Zoho Books. So that will be the perfect target for this kind of products. Over to you, Yomi.
All right, so thank you again, Kamar. So for the next part,
Yomi, before you go ahead, Mr. Olushayo, right? Do you still have a question on Zoho 1?
Yes, thank you very much. I think while Mr. Kama was giving his brief on the Zoho 1, so I like the fact when he mentioned that Zoho 1 is one system that works together to manage all the business activities. So I want to know, and while he was even saying, he talked about each department, each unit, he mentioned the sales, the section of the software that handle the CRM, that handle the IT session, and that each unit are created that work for all the units in business operation. I want to know, for a manufacturing organization, I don't know if Zoho 1 can also is used for us to track the application in other branches, and if it is a POS integrated, if it also integrates POS platform in its operation. I don't know if you get that, sir.
Yes. There, there's a section of Zoho that is actually for manufacturing. Part of the Zoho inventory, the Zoho inventory piece itself actually has a manufacturing element, an element to it, to where you can actually go through a what I forgot what it's called, the boom, right? The bill of materials, where you can actually use to track raw materials that you basically, and you can build process around it to actually go through the flow of converting those raw materials into an end product that is going to end up in your inventory. So that's, so in that case, it's just a matter of basically assigning people that will basically fall under operations, because in a manufacturing company, right, the actual warehousing, and product and production is really where the heart of the business is. That's where the operation is. So in my example, the operations, the warehouse, or the operations manager in the manufacturing company, basically, or as well as as well as people that are actually on the floor, on the manufacturing floor, will basically have access to Zoho, to the Zoho inventory, and also maybe Zoho Flow, and there are other products that they're going to have access to that is part of the Zoho family that's going to actually help them to be able to actually deliver on the finished products. Does that answer your question? Hello?
Hello. Yes, you did, sir.
Okay. And also, also in my experience, when it comes to manufacturing, unless they're like a really, really small manufacturing firm, company that can afford the proper tools, that's when I'll recommend Zoho One. For manufacturing, I will always recommend Microsoft Dynamics 365. They are, they actually are the number one solution when it comes to manufacturing. I won't call it number, but they're one of the top. I don't want to exaggerate and say number one, but they're actually one of the top systems out there. And if the company can afford to use Dynamics, I will recommend that. It's just the best option for them. But if for some reason, if let's say for some reason they're too small, then we want to bring them to, we want to start them out with Zoho One. And at some point, as they grow based on all this money that we're going to be saving them, then we'll basically then migrate them to Microsoft Dynamics. But I will always want to start the conversation with Microsoft Dynamics and go from there based on their budget.
Okay. Thank you. Basically, the company is a very small company, a small manufacturing company.
Okay. And then then Zoho will be a good fit for them based on their budget. But Zoho is actually, because the problem is when you have a tool that is supposed to be all things to all men, it's not going to be. Yeah, was that? What was that? What was that? Okay, I lost you there. But to kind of just to finish what I was saying, if you have the problem with Zoho One when it comes to manufacturing is manufacturing usually is more verticalized. So, and Zoho One is a tool that is actually more of a business operations management tool, where so when you have a tool that is actually designed to be all things to all men, is never perfect for specific niches like like manufacturing. So, but it still can get the job done at the right, at the price point that small manufacturing companies actually needed to get it done. But once they grow to where they actually can afford Dynamics, you always want to basically make sure that you get them to that tool that is actually designed for manufacturing. So that, because that's where they can actually make the most effective use of their minutes and be most productive. So that's all. Yeah, so that's that. Any other questions?
There's a question in the chat. Is it just for a small business? I think that is referring to Zoho books.
Okay, yeah. Oh, I just saw that. Okay. Yes, I won't say it's just for small business. Large enterprise can use it too, but I won't recommend it because, they can afford to basically use the bigger, better tools like SAP or Dynamics or or Odoo in some other sense. So and we're going to cover those products in the later on in the session. Later on in the session, we'll cover some of those products. But Zoho is more recommended for small business, even though enterprise use it. There's a lot of enterprises that actually use Zoho. I know a company right now that is big enough to afford Oracle. We're actually even talking to them about Oracle. And Zoho is working just fine for them. The reason why they want to move to Oracle is for a different purpose. It has nothing to do with Zoho not working for them. And this is a multi-billion naira company, that is actually running, there's running on Zoho. So if it all just depends on how, on the customer's needs at the end of the day. But to answer your question, I'll say yes, you always want to basically recommend it for small business because of the affordability of it. But but it's always better to sell bigger businesses on other tools that are more expensive, but it's more efficient for them.
All right, thank you, Kumar. Yomi, you can go ahead.
All right, so now we're going to the CRM part of Zoho. Okay, so basically, Zoho CRM is just an
Sorry,
online.
please, can we, Yomi, apologies. Can we ensure that we mute our mics, please? Thank you.
So yeah, as I was saying, Zoho CRM is an online sales CRM that helps you manage your sales and marketing, and also support not in some cases, but depending on user requirements, as I've been emphasizing on. So if you come into the platform, this is basically how the homepage is. As I mentioned when I was showing you about Zoho books, excuse me, Zoho is completely customizable across all of their applications. You can customize your home screen to show you whatever it is you want to see whenever you log into the system. So for this person here, for Kamar, this is what he wants to see when he comes in. He wants to see open tasks, to see which task he has not completed, and leads, and also deals and whatever. So if, for example, a new person is logging into CRM and anytime he comes in, he wants to see something else, you can always customize his own page to show him wherever he wants to see. So let's say for me, I want to see, let's come to the dashboard. So we'll come here and see. Okay, so when I come in, I want to see, the first thing I want to see is maybe, let's say, activities. Or let's say all calls and all tasks and meetings. So I do that, and let's say maybe I want to see let's say accounts. It's new this week. So this is my own custom dashboard now, homepage. So I save this. Let me save it. So yeah. So if I want to change the way my dashboard looks like, I can always come and select the homepage, the custom homepage I just created here. So I can create multiple ones. So depending on the user and depending on what you want to see, you can always come here and change whatever it is you want to see anytime you log in into the CRM. So that just covers the customization part of it. So as you can see now, I went back to my home page. Those should I say those modules I selected, or features I selected, or parts of the CRM I selected are what showing here. All calls, all tasks, all meetings and new accounts this week. So it's completely customizable. So I just wanted to put that out there. So as we all know, CRM is a customer relationship management platform to manage and track relationship within your customers and make sure they're satisfied. So let me start with leads, basically, because that's where it starts from. So in the CRM, you can manage your leads. You can import leads. If you have an existing system where you used to generate leads and everything, you can import leads into the CRM. If you have an existing CRM, you can import it from that CRM and then specify it here. And then you create a sync whereby all the information comes from that CRM. And if you have a file where all of your existing leads are stored on, maybe a CSV file, for example. So let me use this. Let me download the CSV sample file here. So, all right. So I'll say I'm importing it through my CSV file, right? So all I have to do is just map the fields that the corresponding fields in the CRM, relating it to the one I have in my CSV file, and then the CRM does the rest and creates all the leads for you. So let me just this is just to prevent duplication. What I just did here. So this is where the mapping comes in, where we map the fields. So lead ID. So in my what's it called? In my file, I might have lead ID. I might have everything there. So I just map it. So it picks the information and maps them to the corresponding fields in the CRM. So if I go to next, then it actually starts importing those fields into the CRM. But I'm not going to do that right now, so I don't create junk information in the CRM. So basically, that's just how importing works, and it goes the same way across all other modules, same as contacts, same as accounts, and any other thing you want to add. You basically see this import option. And then for single leads, like if you want to import add a single lead into the system, all you have to just click on this plus sign and manually impute that single lead in the CRM. So just a dummy lead. So simply just populate all the required informations regarding that lead, so we can follow up on the lead, and I mean phone number and email, so the salesperson can follow up on the lead and do what he has to do to convert the lead to a should I say to a deal and a contact within your organization. So now this is how it looks like when we actually click on a particular lead. So it shows us everything, all the interactions we've had with that lead within our CRM. So it's because this one is a new one, so there's basically nothing going on here. So we're not going to see anything associated to this. So it just shows us everything regarding that particular person. So this also gives us the option to actually link their social media profile to their profile in our CRM. If we can actually find their handle, if they specified it among the requirements we give to them, then we can just associate it. So they can contact us through social media. If they don't want to maybe call us or email us, it can be through a tweet, and then it comes into the CRM as well. So the same thing goes to our contacts as well. So it gives us a 360 view of our contacts in our CRM and all interactions we've had with that contact. So I mean, if there's been any, should I say, purchase or anything, like it comes here and it saves here and syncs everything automatically. So we have a system that also tracks our products and everything. And as I mentioned, Zoho applications talk to each other. So that platform, we're talking to the CRM, whereby, okay, this person has bought this product. So it shows here that, okay, this person bought this product. And as I mentioned, it just shows all the interactions we've had with that particular person in the CRM. Also, the integration part of it, where the Zoho financial part is talking to the CRM to show all estimates of that particular customer on this page, shows all the sales orders, all the invoices. And if you actually run a subscription, like you're using a subscription management system, and this person is like a subscriber, I'd say maybe you're like a telecommunication company and this person subscribes to data or something, all the subscriptions that person has ever had with you will appear here, so you can track, and it's for tracking and referencing purposes, and just manage everything basically. So accounts, what I just showed is basically more, I should have done that on accounts. That's basically the customer. It's like the company. The contact is just the person you have to like send an email or talk to regarding this particular should I say company. Accounts is basically the customer in the CRM, and the contact is the person you have to communicate with regarding that account. So also all of the account information is here. Everything, all the interactions we've had with that account comes up here. And then in case of multiple, like to prevent, maybe you have like a lot of accounts and you're trying to search for one, so there are advanced filters that help you search for that particular account. Right, so sorry, excuse me. So it's very easy. So let's say maybe you're looking for an account based on maybe an account number. You have the account number, so you can just specify it. Or let me know, that's not a good example. Let me use let's maybe account name. Filters the what's it called? Sorry. It filters all the accounts and gives you that one you're searching for. So gives us this. So right, and it's because this one was among the top ones. Imagine you were looking for Test Living Great and it was like probably among the last 5,000 accounts. So rather than scrolling through and looking for, you just come here and then do that, and it brings you to that specific account you're looking for. And there are also other filter options you can also use. You can filter by deals, you can filter by billing, like just based on user preference or requirements at that particular time, and then we get our account. Okay, I would have covered deals, but I think my colleague is going to go really deep into deals later on in this training, so I think I'm going to leave that for now. I'll come to the actual automations. So the beauty of the CRM, or basically also products, is the way we can automate processes, so reduce manual entries and manual labor. So I'd say just create a role now to make so we can follow the rule like together. I say, okay, maybe we have a company that has a lot of people under this particular CRM, but they have a sales representative. So they want any lead coming into the CRM to be assigned to that lead. Okay, let me come to assignment rule instead. So we want any lead that comes into our CRM to be assigned to our sales representative. So we don't have to like he's just going to get notified when a lead comes in, and then he goes in and follows up on that lead. So we can, let's just call it so we create a rule whereby if a lead comes into our system, it automatically assigns it to our sales rep. And if you have multiple sales rep, you can also assign it to them, or you can select, you can actually assign it to them based on a specific pattern called round robin, where it selects, maybe if it's 5-5, it gives 5 to one sales rep and gives 5 to another sales rep to handle them, depending on how big your organization is. You can specify different configurations there. So yep. Okay, let's do all records since it's a lead. Okay, so let's say in this case, this person is our sales rep. So any lead coming in will come to her, and then if you want to add multiple, should I say multiple sales reps to that role as well. You can do that this way. So any lead coming in is going to be associated to these two people, which are Onye and Demilade. So then you can decide to add the follow-up task. So their salespeople, they know what to do, but since you're the one specifying what you want, you can add the task. So here there are predefined tasks already in the CRM, but you can also create a new task as well. You can customize the task. Let's say maybe email or call, trigger dates, created time, and priority, and then also assign it to, assign it to people. Okay. So now I've saved this row. So anytime a lead comes into this our CRM, this particular environment for ICIT, let's use ICIT as this organization now. So if a lead comes in, so Onye and Demilade, depending on who that row associates assigns that lead to, is going to get notified that okay, there's a lead called this person. So do the task I created, which was to send an email to that person. If he was going to be called, so if I put call, so he's going to also assign that task to the person and say there's a lead that's coming to this CRM, so call the person, and then the sales process continues from there. So regarding automation, there's also a workflow rule where we can specify internal processes and also I'd say different you can trigger certain actions based on certain requirements or certain criteria you create, right? So let's say let me use case. Okay, so let's say an existing customer we have already creates a case, right? Okay, it's something we see the case, and then it's something we actually have to now look at the case and then start manually, should I say, taking actions. But we can also create an automation where if a certain case is created, we can set up predefined actions already. We can customize predefined actions to be taken out when a case is created. So let's say we make a condition saying subject contains let's say the subject of that person contains any word related to data, and then we have someone in our organization that's specialized in handling issues regarding data. So we can basically create a task. Let's say create a task and say okay, call to follow up on the issue. So let's say in this case, Kamara is a person specialized in handling what's it called, data issues. So we'll save this and yeah. So when a case meeting this condition is created, if someone comes in and creates a case, like a case is in our CRM and it contains, the subject just contains anything related to data, automatically Kamara is notified to take this action to actually call the person. Hello?
And I want to add that if you want to actually have the system automatically call Kamar, it can actually call Kamar. So
yeah,
you can integrate your phone, a phone system into Zoho, into the Zoho CRM. And that phone system also is, and it's just like a regular phone system. So you can actually, instead of having to pick up the regular phone, you can actually just use your web browser as a phone. And you can just dial, click on the person's number with your headset, is going to dial the person, and you can have a conversation with the person. Or in the case of you basically assigning that task to Kamar, Kamar will get a call with an automated message saying, whatever the message is, so that Kamar can basically handle that task whenever that event is raised.
Yeah. So this is where the phone integration happens. So I could have shown you that right above. I think for this particular system, it's not
No, and again, it's kind of in depth.
Yeah.
But it's best to just show so that everyone can have an idea of what it is.
Yeah. So for this, if you look at this screenshot here, this is how it looks like. So you can call from that, like directly from the CRM, if the telephony part of it is integrated. So it shows you this, and then you can call directly from the CRM. This is how it looks like. You can see here, it just shows mobile, but it's not giving us that icon to actually call because we don't have it yet. So if you have it integrated, it's just going to give you the option to call whenever you want to, and then I think that's that with the CRM. Yeah. So I mean, there are also rules. That's okay. We've talked about assignment rules, and there's case escalation rules as well, where if a case has not been attended to, we escalate it to the next person. And let's call it anything anyway. Okay, sorry, a mistake. I think there was an existing rule there, so that's why I didn't have the option to. Sorry. So I'm just going to create like a custom rule now. So let's say it's between, if you want rules to be assigned to a certain person for within a specific time, right? So let's say I mean, I'm just doing this, I'm just giving random examples to see how flexible you can specify any criteria you want to. Is you can also add another one to fit one particular criteria. So for now, I just stick with that one. Yeah. So I mean, so it's just basically escalations when if you specify certain rules on escalation. So if a rule is created at a specific time, it gets escalated to another person that handles that case. So I move on to the okay. All of these are more like technical, so we don't really need to. We have to go too deep into it, and for the sake of time, we just have to move on.
Yeah.
So,
are you close to? Is there something else you want to show?
No, I think I'm done with this part.
Okay.
Of it.
I want to address it from a sales perspective because I actually saw a few questions in the chat. So the best, from a sales perspective, a CRM basically is the best tool that a sales team can have because it allows them to be able to actually maintain the relationship that they have with their clients. So, and that, which is, the meaning of CRM, customer relationship management. And also, from a value perspective, a company basically can save a lot of money basically implementing a CRM, as you've seen the extensive features that Yomi basically demoed. But a good example is I had a small company that basically where they had a website, and the website basically was effective for them to get leads. But what happens is if someone goes to their website and actually get a lead, and they were a very small company, so they didn't really have enough people to manage all of these leads. So, because the lead will come in as an email, and someone will have to basically now try to put in the lead into an Excel file to track and to actually manage their relationship. And once they become a customer, then someone will have to basically now turn around and actually put all of that information into their QuickBooks account. But if they had like a CRM, it would have been easy for them to basically just do what you call a web to lead form, which Yomi, if you don't mind showing that. It's a way for you to basically put a contact us form on your page. So when you get a lead and they want to contact you, they will automatically enter that form, and that form will automatically basically create a lead for you in your CRM. And you can automate that, and you can automate your CRM to notify you if there is a new lead. So it will just be an email or SMS text message to you that, hey, you just got a new lead in CRM from your website. That makes it very simple. Because, and it's not a whole lot of work. You don't have to hire a web developer, to basically do all of this for you. You can just, all you have to do is drag and drop the fields that you want on your website to display on your website in here. And once you've done that, it will automatically generate the code for you to copy and paste in your web page that is on your website. Zoho does all of that for you. So if you don't mind actually scrolling, if you don't mind scrolling all the way down to the, it'd be nice to actually address this too. Never mind. So if you want to basically, notify like the lead owner, which in this case, we've already had it set up to where it's always going to notify if a new lead comes on the website, it's always going to notify Demilade. And if you want to be able to actually track the visitor using Sales IQ, which will be a different product that we will demo later, you can do that as well. And you can just copy that code, paste it on your web page on your website, and you're done. And from then on, when a new lead comes in, once they fill out the form, it's going to notify Demilade. Demilade doesn't have to now worry about getting an email and having to type all of that information into their Excel file. That's time that he was wasting. He doesn't have to waste that time. Now, all Demilade has to do is basically log into CRM and actually see that lead and pick up the phone and call the lead, or can actually call the lead from CRM. Click a button, and he has his headset on. He clicks a button, and he can record the call, just so that he can remember what he spoke about. So he can actually, if the PBX is set up for call recording, it will record the call. And in the case where maybe in the next 2 weeks he has to basically follow up on the client, he can go and listen to the call to see what they spoke about the last time, and then he can be more informed with how to continue the conversation with the clients before they become a customer. And once they become a customer, all he has to do is click a button to convert them from a lead to an account. All of their information basically moves into an account, into the account. Now it's all, if they have Zoho books, all of that information is also shared with Zoho books instantly. They can actually now create an invoice. They can they can create orders, and there's a client portal as well that comes with CRM that the customer can actually log into the client portal and they can see all of their invoice and they can pay online. So that's really the value of a CRM for small business. I mean, obviously big business, the goal is to go sell this to big business, but they probably already have all of these tools. But the low hanging fruit that I feel we have, and the sales opportunity that we have, as in this from a sales perspective, are those small businesses that think that all of these things are expensive. It's not. I mean, a typical Zoho, Zoho standard is, because of the fluctuation of the naira now, I'm going to just use dollars. It's $12 a month per user, and a typical a 3-man or 4, 3 or 4 employee company can pretty much run as if they're an enterprise, using, for just about $50, for $50, which that's about 20,000 naira a month right now. And but if they should, but the problem is they shouldn't see that 20,000 naira a month as an expense. They should see it as an investment that will say, because them having Zoho CRM in place, and let's say they actually even maybe buy Zoho books for their accounting. Those two systems right there will basically have them running as if they have 6 or 7 employees. That's the kind of productivity they're going to get. So for 20,000 naira, actually, plus if I add Zoho books, that'll be about maybe average of 30,000 naira a month. You just hired, you just literally basically hired 4 more people to work for you. And you actually, and the people you actually hire to work for you are professionals that will probably be, they'll be earning, a higher salary, like real substantial salary if, if you had hired them to actually do all of this work manually. But you have computers doing the work efficiently, productively as well. So that's the value that this kind of tools will bring to the small business, and we'll talk, I mean, there are obviously big business can use it too, but I just feel it's key. I'm just emphasizing on the small business because there's a lot of them out there that will automatically, basically, if they understand the value and if it's well communicated to them, they would automatically they won't even ask any question. They would just basically just go ahead and actually invest in their business, basically engaging you to help them basically deliver this kind of tools. Hello, yeah, sorry. Okay. Yeah, and also one more thing. One of the, I know someone that I think was Adekunle actually, Mr. Adekunle actually asked earlier about APIs and stuff like that. Zoho CRM also all the CRM products comes with API, so that's definitely key. And also another feature of Zoho CRM that I like, and I don't know if Yomi has actually touched on that yet, is the ability to actually integrate with social media. And so you can actually engage your customers from within Zoho CRM through social media as well. I don't know if you covered that.
Yeah, I did. And it also brings me to actually talk about the next products, which is Zoho Social as well.
Go ahead.
Yes, actually going into full information on Zoho Social. All right, so I'd like to ask if anyone can still see my screen and see what page I'm on right now.
Yes.
Yes, I can see us.
Yes, we can.
All right.
Setting
So-
up a brand.
Yes, thank you very much. So that is Zoho Socials. This is where you can use them social. This is practically for the marketing. This is the marketing part of it, where you use social media to actually reach out to potential like prospects, leads, and also manage interactions. It's also, as I showed before, it's also integrated with the CRM, where I showed for each contact, you can also show each interactions you have, like maybe tweets from the customer, from the lead or something. But this is like showing the full, what's it called, the full application itself and how it's set up, and how we can also view and track interactions from all the social media platforms you associate to your brand. So this is basically the beginning page. I'm starting from scratch. So I'm going to link my Facebook account to my Zoho social account. So there's going to be a specific page, basically for like a business page under your Facebook, where the interactions are going to be coming in from, which is what I created here. I just named it ICIT CRM. So okay, so now we have a brand from in our Zoho CRM, where interactions from our Facebook under the ICIT CRM page comes into our Zoho social. And since it's synchronized with our CRM as well, we can also access it in our CRM too. So let me just go one step further and integrate my Twitter as well. So we just see how it works. And okay, so these are other options. We can also use LinkedIn, Instagram, business. So just for the sake of time, I mean, let's just stick to the ones we have now. All right, so it shows. So this is basically, as I mentioned, this is the homepage where it just shows like a brief overview of your brand, of all the social media interactions you've had regarding your brand. Yeah. So it's because I'm the one doing it. That's why it's showing my Twitter name here. So if it was, I'd say your company name was I mean ICIM, maybe should I say vendors@thisthing.com or something. That's what's going to you just link your ICM, your social media handle, to both. And then all interactions, like maybe if people reach out to you through social media, it's going to come here. But because I myself personally, I'm not a business, so there's actually nothing here to show. But I just use this to show how we can log in and then see the features of the social media part of it. So the posts you've had on Facebook, you can see them through here. Once we even have this, we don't actually need to even open our Facebook or Twitter anymore. We can do everything from here. We can tweet at our customers from here. I mean, since they're all our customers are all synchronized in the CRM, so they're going to reflect here as well. So, but as I mentioned, I use my personal account, my personal social media account to do this, so we can just test it, because it's going to like take a lot of time to actually start setting all of that up. So that's why we can actually really see interactions between I and any customer, because it's my account. So it shows tweets from, it shows posts from my Facebook, and then if anybody comments on my page, it can come here. And then we can also create rules as well, whereby like automations as well, to like automatically generate leads from social media, to where if someone maybe tweets at me, like if I don't want to like overpopulate my leads tab in the CRM, I can also like specify the specify ways to create leads. Maybe if someone tweets at me and says, maybe there's a word called inquiry in that tweet, So I can customize it and say, okay, once someone tweets and there's a word inquiry in that tweet, automatically turn that person to a lead from the social media, and then from there we can follow up and get other information with them. So those are the rules. Like, let me show you if we can do that here, because this as I mentioned, I don't think I mentioned that I'm also on a plan where it's just a basic plan, so we don't have access to full features. That's why it's kind of scanty, because I was about to show you the monitor piece of it where we monitor all the interactions, but excuse me, so it's not allowing me to do that because we're on a basic plan where it doesn't like allow us to see all the features of Zoho Social. So we'll have to do something, maybe in a targeted training as well. In future, we can look at that, and then we'll do that briefly. So yeah, this just shows this is just showing my Twitter, basically just showing my Twitter interaction. That's why it's doing this, showing all the people I've interacted with in the past few days on Twitter. So it will not be like this for an organizational brand. It's because I use my personal account, as I mentioned. That's why I show all of this. And then also reports. So if you want to generate reports, yeah, it's not allowing us. But you can also generate reports through social media, like leads from social media, deals won from leads from social media, and so on. You can also create and generate reports from here as well. I don't know if I've covered this part where it just shows direct messages from you and your customers. Okay, so I can also tweet from here as well. And then you can tag people as much as it's just for the marketing team, depending on the plan where the marketers plan and how they want to use it. So I think this is just like an overview of those socials. Okay. All right, so on to Zoho people, which is sorry, we have Zoho people as well, which is, as it says here, a complete online HR solution. I'm trying to access it right now.
Okay, Yomi, you need to run through Zoho people so that we can cover the other products.
What did you say?
No, I
Hello?
said we need to run through Zoho people as quickly as we can so we can cover
Yes, I
the
know.
other.
Yeah, for the sake of that. Yes, yeah. So as I was saying, Zoho people is basically is a cloud-based human resource solution for businesses of all sizes. Actually, in this case, not just small businesses. So you can manage your it has features like leave management, attendance management, all those time track, employee self-services, and all of those things. Just let me just access it so we can look at it briefly. And as you mentioned, all Zoho products are cloud-based products. So that's why if you notice me logging out and logging in online, so use specific accounts to show specific features. So yeah, now come to another homepage. This is how Zoho people looks like. This is the homepage, the default homepage where it shows the birthdays for specific employees, new hires, favorites, which you might have created if you want to. and it shows departments, members of specific departments you've created. All these are just custom features. Like departments, obviously, you're going to create them according to your company and the names of the departments and all of these things. And it shows attendance. So if you want to track the work time of specific employees and all, you do that here. So you can also use it to verify and check. So if someone has not been working up to time, but the amount of time, you can use it to initiate disciplinary actions or whatever it is you have to. So this is just the overview of the whole system on your own page here. So come to the organization here, where we see all the employees you've actually put into your system. So in this case now, we're using our own ICIT, which shows a list of some of our employees, ICIT Nigeria. So that's why we're seeing all of this, and it gives them a specific unique ID that we can use to track them and manage them from the Zoho people platform, and all of the information regarding their regarding how they were added into the system and their interaction. So this, let me just show a brief example of how to add a new person, a new employee. So it shows you it gives you an employee ID. You have to give the employee a unique ID. So let me not put ICIT, let me put that works. An email address. So I mean, we can't go through this because I'm going to use the fake email address, but if it was a real one, I would have showed how it goes into the person's email and then how the person clicks and accepts the invitation and then is rerouted back to this place as an employee because he has accepted the invitation, which I, in this case, the admin, has sent to the person, and then he becomes an employee under ICIT. Yeah, so I mean, not necessary to have a nickname. So I mean, you already have a system, a defined department in your organization, since you may just be using Zoho people for the first time. But let's say he's he's an accountant.
Yomi?
Yeah.
Give me a quick minute. I need to address a question that Mrs. Allen asked. Yes,
Okay.
all of this package actually can come in in Zoho 1. So if a client basically if a customer decides to buy Zoho 1, they'll get all of this. The only problem is if they don't, it depends on what they're looking for, because Zoho 1 basically is $35 per user. Whereas some of this, if you actually get them separately, it might actually be cheaper. So the first thing we want to do is evaluate the customer's needs before we decide maybe it'll be cheaper for them to basically go to Zoho 1 and pay for $35 for every employee they have. And all of those employees may not even need some features that comes in Zoho 1. So it might turn out to be a waste of money in that sense. Go ahead, Yomi.
All right, thank you, Kamal. So as I was saying, if the person you're trying to onboard into the Zoho people platform, let's say he's an accountant, so you put him to the accounting department. And if you have someone he's supposed to report to, let's say now in this case we have our head accountant, who is Daniel, so we'll make him report to Daniel. And if you want to specify source of hire, maybe it's through referral or web, or I mean, however it is, just put it here and then, excuse me. So you can create a title for him. If there's no one here among the existing ones, so let's say Sorry, can't find one I just created now. But I think we get the what we're trying to do there. I don't know why that went to.
So you have to refresh, but you can move forward for the sake of time. But you have to refresh to see it.
So we just specify all the required information, and then once we do that and submit, and boom, it sends out the email to the real person. In this case, it's not a real person. So, and then the person accepts it and then comes into the system with all the designations we've assigned to him. But let me just go ahead and cancel. So yeah. So that's just how bringing in a new employee works on Zoho people, and then the other features of it. So as we've spoken about before, departments.
Let me actually address something real quick. One of the key things for Zoho people is the ability to manage training and certification, and also the more advanced plans actually come with a learning management system, an LMS that you can actually use to train your employees. And you can actually use it as a tool to basically build your own internal knowledge base. And you can even actually source knowledge base from outside of your organization as well to train your employees. So that's one key. That's one key feature of Zoho people that I really feel a lot of businesses actually like, because right now a lot of businesses that basically have that kind of feature, ability, basically they have to invest in SAP Success Factor. That's and also another one too is Dynamics 365 talent management, which is usually more expensive, but small businesses can actually have the same type of ability that enterprise have to actually train their employees at a very affordable price with Zoho people. And I know I keep relating it to small business. It's not just for small business. Enterprise use this all the time. I mean, there are some enterprise that actually loves Zoho people, and it's worked well for them. He's able to and these are enterprises that basically manage thousands of employees. So, but I guess that's actually the beauty of it, is the same tool that enterprises that can afford, that have thousands of employees have on their payroll. A 10 employee small business or 5 employee small business can use the same tool to basically effectively manage and train and develop their employees, which is the whole purpose of HR.
All right. Thank you for that, Kamar. So as we're saying, it's just all of this shows all the features under your organization, shows designations, which we just did a brief example on that, and then we have where you can specify your company policies, and it's just, it's empty here, so you can just add a record and specify policies regarding your own organization. Then organization tree, like, shows hierarchy and just basically for defining hierarchy and all of that in your organization. Excuse me. And specifying birthdays for everybody in the organization. New hires, it speaks for itself. As it didn't show anything because we have nothing here, so that's why we have no favorites here. So all of this, it's just for the sake of time. I just don't want to go into detail because all of these are just self-explanatory, and yeah, so we don't have that in this way, so I cannot just start creating all of them one by one to show it. But I feel that's self-explanatory enough, and if there are questions, we can briefly come back and look at it. So
yeah, and we're gonna have deep dive we're gonna want. One in the future, in the next near future, we're actually going to be having like a deep dive specific webinar sessions that actually just focus on this specific product and actually talk, go through the features and Also, basically, we go through different hands-on training that anyone that we that might be needed to understand it a bit better. But so you can move on, and if anyone actually wants to know more about this project, this specific, they want to basically know more about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can
have a target session for the product.
Yeah, we can have a target session. I was actually reading a question as I was talking. Okay, can used to be be used for the preparation of financial statements. I think that'll be more on the Zoho that'll be more on Zoho books, but because that's really where that's more financial. But as far as Zoho, but I guess in the scheme of things, it integrates with Zoho books as well. So yes, it can, because they both work together.
Yeah.
So to answer the question in more specifically, to be able to actually prepare financial statements with this, you have to basically have Zoho people and Zoho books all integrated together. And it's easy. And I think that's, both of them basically is probably about $50 a month, basically, for both of them to automate that whole process for you. Go ahead, Yomi.
All right, thank you. So for the last product for today, which I'll just be going over, is the Zoho Marketing Hub, which actually has a lot of should I say, it needs a lot of setting up and all to show the full features, which we may not be able to today. So I may just be having like a brief talk about how the features work and everything. So as Kamara mentioned previously, so if there are questions, we might have to create a targeted session for that particular product, especially. So Zoho Marketing Hub is basically a marketing hub. Is basically is a marketing automation software that helps you manage your marketing activities across like different channels, maybe through emails and social media and everything. You can also use it to generate more leads and convert leads and manage them more accurately, or should I say more? I won't say accurately, yeah, but efficiently, yes. And so let's just go through the. So this is basically like a blank environment where we don't have any information. So I won't really be able to show you much. So I can just talk about it, how they actually work, and we have a specific session for this product, and we go deep into it. So as with all Zoho products, the dashboard shows you which aspect of the software you want to see. So here we see leads, we see add leads, because there's no information, so it's not showing us anything. It's just telling us to add leads or sync leads from existing systems and all of that. So that's why all of this is just here.
Yeah, and to kind of give you the context of the value this product actually brings to a company, to a business. Having Zoho Marketing Hub is the same as having someone actually, if you automate it and you build it right, it's about equivalent to actually having 4 marketing staff in your company. Even that's if you actually, that's basically implementing it the right way. You can always automate it to where you can actually have it to actually run as if you have 10 or 20 marketing staff. Depends on the extent of your automation. But just for a small business, basically implementing it right out the box, I mean, you can't underscore the value that it actually brings in the sense that You can basically automate your entire marketing process, how you engage your customer, how you actually, all the touch points. You can actually automate it to where you can say, hey, Monday, send this kind of campaign to this certain people. Or if you want to say, if they're, on Wednesday, if they meet, if they basically meet a certain criteria, go ahead and actually set this campaign. And you can actually, it could be a automated email campaign or automated SMS campaign. You don't have to manually do all of it. It's all it's all on autopilot. And if, let's say, if a customer basically buy a certain type of product, and maybe you haven't actually heard from them in a week, in a month or 2 months, and you want to basically reconnect with them, you can have certain campaigns that you can actually build into the marketing hub to basically reach out to those customers or prospects. If you are, if they're a new prospect and you've been engaging them, you can just continuously engage them to become a customer. I mean, it's an amazing tool, and it actually, and the leverage that it actually brings into a business is far reaching than what we can even imagine, from a marketing perspective. I mean, you hear marketing automation. This is one of those true marketing automation that is actually built for any size business, but I'll still basically focus, hone in on the fact that it's affordable for small business, because that's always what we hear all the time when we actually are out there engaging small business. Oh man, this is too expensive for me. I only have 5 employees. That was no longer an excuse. Now the question is, do you want to grow? If you want to grow, invest in IT, invest in technology, and the investment is minimal. The return on investment that you get out of for every one naira. I mean, I don't know any business where I won't invest in. If someone tells me that, for every 1 naira that I actually invest into it, I'm going to get 5 naira back. I mean, it's a no-brainer, and that's really what these tools are. Is they're big, and that's the conversation that we should be having with our customers out there when it comes to these tools. Go ahead, Yomi.
All right, thank you, Kumar. So yeah, so for the sake of time, I'll just be looking at the major features of this. So we come here to show lead sources, and that's just basically from to specify where you got these specific leads from, either from forms. You created forms and embed them in your website, or events you've also excuse me, also from events which you can use. There's a certain app called Zoho Backstage where that one helps you manage events and puts in all the information there, so you can also sync that. So it still boils down to the fact where I said Zoho products, they all work with each other. And then also webinars. It's basically just categorizing leads from where you got them from. That's just what this feature is for, and it's helping you to manage them, so everything is neat in your system. And then I have touch points where shows that's on your website. Sorry, shows where the leads are generated from on your website. So I mean, I can't really show much about that here. So, and we're going to be going through a lot of that just right now. So let me just move on to the web assistant feature. So this just helps you. This is basically like visitor tracking. Helps you track the visitors on your website and see whatever it is they click on. It can also let you know specific leads and whatever. Like it helps you, should I say, categorize leads based on what they're always clicking on when they come to your website and all of that. But I don't want to do that right now because they can't show.
Actually, I'll also address this. This is key to address. This is one of the most powerful tools out there. It allows you to basically have what we call market intelligence. Because it's tracking if you have a website like an e-commerce website that you sell to people, it's tracking exactly what people are doing on that website, what people are buying, why and that gives you data that you can analyze to know what kind of product you should be selling, or maybe any changes you need to make, or how you should effectively what kind of campaigns that you want to actually send out there to your customers. For example, if you know that because you're tracking the activities on how the behavior, how customers or prospects behave on your site, you can actually know, okay, the seasons that maybe if you actually sell clothes, for example, you can know that, okay, what kind of clothes actually is good for specific seasons. And you can automatically basically engage with your vendor supplier ahead of time to be able to actually make sure you have all of those clothes in your inventory and be prepared for that season. Because there's a lot of retailers out there that don't actually know what people are, they're basically doing a lot of guesswork when it comes to what they stock, because they don't actually have they don't have the data, they don't have the intelligence that they can actually lean on to be able to actually provide their customers with what they actually want at the time they want it. That's key. What people want at the time they want it. If you provide people with what they want at the time they don't want it, it's still, is a waste of effort. Or if they want something but you can't provide it for them, you're still missing it, right? But the key is to be able to provide them with what they want at the time they want it. And that's really what this tool does. And it's like I'm going to keep repeating myself. It's very, very affordable. There's no excuse why any business shouldn't basically want to have this in their arsenal and not want to invest in this, especially if they are retail and they actually sell to their customer via website. And there's no reason why businesses shouldn't be having a website and actually shouldn't be having an e-commerce platform as well. And Zoho has e-commerce platform. There's something called Zoho Commerce that you can actually use to actually build an e-commerce platform that automatically will integrate with Marketing Hub. That you can, because now, people actually there's a lot of companies that have a lot of sales staff. And the reason why they have a lot of sales staff and a lot of business development staff is because they feel like they have to go out there and look for customers. Maybe it will be more effective if we change the strategy to have the customer find us. It's easier for the customer to find us than to always go look for the customer, because the customer can easily go to Google and say, I am looking for so and so. So if we have a Zoho Commerce site that actually integrates with Zoho Socials and Marketing Hub that is well optimized, then the customer is only going to find us and they're going to click on our site. They're going to basically shop. We're going to gather all the intelligence we want, and we're going to be able to actually, and our cost of customer acquisition is actually going to go down a lot lower because we're more efficient. The customers are finding us. We don't have to have all this big, sales reps out there, and also business development reps out there, basically going out there and looking for what we call a needle in a haystack, trying to find customers. The customers are coming to us. All right, Yomi, you can continue.
All right, thank you, Kumar. So so I'll just be looking through this. So yeah, this is the lead tab where it just helps you manage all your leads. As I mentioned, this is like there's no information here, so it gives us options to add leads like manually. So we can click on add new and then shows how to add either one lead or multiple leads. Then import leads. Following it's just simply like the same way we did on the CRM part of it, but this one has more options as well. If you want to import from your computer through an XLS format, or if you have leads on your Google Drive or your OneDrive or the Dropbox, from all these different platforms, depending on your choice, you can import it to the system. And that's
I mean, for the sake of time, I think we can move forward, because and I'll also address some of this. I'm just going to kind of address everything on that list right there. How you can basically manage your lead, your services and products. All it is just basically setup. Is basically defining your boundaries, so to speak, where you basically are identifying all of the products that you want to basically target to the market and track, and you want to basically automate how those products is being sold or how those services being delivered, and the communications of those products and services to to your potential customers. So that's really what Marketing Hub is. It's, it's taking your marketing to the next level. Is basically creating, is a small business basically creating their own marketing department and having 5 people staff it and paying, less than $50 a month to basically do that. And that's really what it is.
All right, thank you, Kumar, and thank you, Yomi. For the sake of time, let's move to the Microsoft portfolio. Alex, I hope you're able to project and.
Are you able to hear me?
Yes, I can
Yes,
hear you.
we
Hey,
can.
look at that. Cool. Okay, so I know we
All
don't
right.
have a ton of time left, so I'm going to go through this pretty quickly. I don't have any demos today, but I heard some talk about potentially some more pointed conversations in the near future, so I will leave that there. Keep that in mind. All of these things are things we can demo, but I won't be doing that today. I'm just going to run through the slides here. Let's see, let me get them up. Okay, can everybody see my screen?
Yeah, we can. I can anyway.
Okay. All right, so we'll start here with Microsoft 365. So Microsoft 365 is basically the core of the entire Microsoft environment. It is sort of the solution where you can get a little bit of sort of everything from Microsoft. You can get your email, you can get the Office apps, you can get team collaborative apps like SharePoint and the Teams app itself. It also offers some bits of security. We can manage users anywhere from a 5-user company, like was mentioned earlier, all the way up to thousands of users, and we can manage them either individually or in groups. Let's see, go on to the next one. SharePoint is one thing that is part of that initial bundle that I do like to talk a little bit more about, because I think most people who have heard of SharePoint think of it as simply a document sharing site, similar to Dropbox or a OneDrive, but it's more than that. With SharePoint, you can collaborate, of course, with teams on documents, but you can also create sites to share information with teams. You can have bulletin boards where you can post information. You can have chats. It's much more than just a document sharing website. It's also far better than having on-site document storage or like on-prem document storage, because you have, of course, cloud backups. You can have geo-redundant backups, and you can have versioning, which is really cool. So you can keep, I think, up to 500 versions of, it might actually even be more than that, but 500 versions of a single document. So if there were changes made and you want to go back, sort of back in time to what you thought was maybe a better version of that, you can do that.
And also, I just want to add that we had a client that was a small business. Alex is definitely aware of who I'm about to talk about.
Yeah.
That they had a server. They basically had a server. There were 4. I think it was about 3 employees or 4 employees.
4, yeah.
Yeah, 4. And we woke up one morning and basically said, why? They actually were like, hey, why are we spending money on this server? It's old. We want to replace it. And I gave them a quote of about $25,000 to basically replace the server, to basically with the operating system and everything like that. And all of us, this was back when SharePoint was still, Microsoft OneDrive was still new. SharePoint was still kind of finicky. It's still, SharePoint Office 365 was finicky. So, and the cost of maintaining that server, not only that they're going to have to pay $25,000, but the cost of maintaining that server on a yearly basis was going to be about $2,000 to $3,000 a year. So that's, let's say for 3 years, basically, the total cost of ownership for this will be about $34,000 in 3 years. And the life cycle of a typical server for a small business is about 5 years to 6 years. So maybe, okay, over the life of that server, we're looking at about $40,000 to $50,000. We basically said, no, they're a small business. They can afford it. I mean, a small business in the US can go get a loan and afford that. And they actually, that's the life of their business. What they do require that they actually have all this information stored on the server. So, she could have easily went and got a loan. But we said, forget that. We actually bought SharePoint licenses, actually Office 365 licenses for all their employees. I think it was 5 licenses that they bought for $100 a month. And we literally basically moved all of the files on their server, all of the entire business information into SharePoint. We ran all of their business from SharePoint in the cloud. And we burnt that server virtually. Actually, I threw the server away, in the trash. And that was the end. And they never looked back ever since. And they've been running great they've been running great on SharePoint, and they still run on SharePoint to today. So that's the power of SharePoint. And SharePoint also is great for work, it's not just for document sharing. A lot of enterprise actually use SharePoint to basically automate workflows, like approvals, and like maybe if someone wants to submit a leave, or if there's an for business processes that is kind of like internal to the department, they will basically put in a task on SharePoint, and they will automate that. They will build workflows within SharePoint to say, hey, if someone basically submit this task, these are the steps that needs to be taken. Someone needs to get an email. This document needs to be filed somewhere, and all of the different things. There's so many different things that a lot of small businesses or a lot of small departments within enterprise, big business, actually do with SharePoint. It's a very powerful tool. But I don't want to hijack Alex's
no
demo.
worries. Actually, so that's interesting though. You told that story, and we weren't thinking of the same company. I was thinking of another one who didn't migrate to the cloud, and I remember I pulled an all-nighter on Christmas Eve at our client's office because their server died, and
they almost went out of business.
All of their information was on this server. The server died. There was multiple malfunctions all at the same time, and so I spent was probably 36 hours or so in their office doing disaster recovery, trying to get basically their entire business back up and running. And so if you're storing a lot of your really important stuff, like your documents, of course, those are so valuable to the company. If you don't have those, you've lost years worth of work in a lot of cases. With SharePoint, you don't have to worry about that because of the redundancy, the backups, everything. So that's it's an investment in the future for when you do have a hardware failure or a flood or a power surge or something like that. It's very, very, very valuable for that.
And I actually want to add something to what you just said, which is key. This is pure business insurance. It is actually documented that a lot of 90% of small businesses that actually lose their data and don't have a business continuity plan, which a business continuity plan means that if something should happen to your business, how do in case of a natural disaster, how do you basically continue running your business? Do you have a backup? Do you have a secondary site to basically fail over to? A lot of small business basically hear business continuity and be like, hey, I can't afford it. But the problem is they can't afford not to have one, because 90% of any business that basically don't have a business continuity plan, if a server basically catches on fire, or like especially with the electrical situation in Nigeria where NEPA basically takes light at any time and blows up your server. That happens on a constant basis. And UPS can't even save Nigeria in a lot of these instances. And it puts them out of business because they can't recover. But with the cloud, with SharePoint, you pay for an affordable price, for about, in some cases, I think the basic actually comes with SharePoint, right? So with the basic, which is $5 a month, you basically, per user, you basically have a business continuity plan if you basically have a cloud first strategy. If for some reason NEPA basically takes light, that's fine. You can easily basically go find where there's light or turn on your generator and put on, basically as long as you have data, you can continue working. Go ahead, Alex.
Okay. I think we did a good job on SharePoint there. So then the next part is Enterprise Mobility Suite. This is an addition to that core Microsoft 365 package that you would get, especially in today's day and age. Everything is so mobile. Everybody's got laptops and phones and things like that. And if they're using those to work on business related things, you want to be able to protect your assets. And so Enterprise Mobility Suite is a holistic approach to mobile device management, mobile user management. So from one central place, we can control either an individual person or groups of people. We can say sales teams can only have access to this certain information if they are not on the company network, or if they are in a different country, or whatever it may be. It's a very thorough approach to security. And one thing that's sort of interesting to note that I don't think a lot of people know is that I think right as they were starting to work on Windows 10, Microsoft started working hands-on with other security companies in the industry. And so they get that first knowledge right away of new threats when they are discovered. And so with Enterprise Mobility Suite, you can know that the protections, the databases in the cloud that are being used to check against potential threats are as fresh and as new as could be. It used to be that Microsoft products were known to be vulnerable to attacks, more so than other devices perhaps, but now with this new approach, they've really locked down their security abilities. So this next one, this is probably the biggest one, Microsoft Dynamics 365. So we were talking about Zoho CRM and things like that. So Microsoft Dynamics 365 is sort of the core of all really business apps that you could ever want. It's super customizable. It has tons of automation, like Kumar was talking about automation with SharePoint. Automation in Dynamics 365 is tenfold. You can do workflows and automate all of your processes so that you don't have to go faxing documents, passing things around. You can do everything all in one in Dynamics 365, and you can customize it to be whatever you want it to be. Within Dynamics, you can do lots of integrations as well. So you can integrate with Salesforce, you can integrate with DocuSign, things like that, so that you, if a lot of companies I know already are using things like DocuSign, so if they don't want to step away from those products, they can still use them. We can just integrate them with Dynamics 365. So this is another one that comes up a lot, is Project Online. With Project Online, you can manage all aspects of a project, including tasks, materials, equipment, personnel, etc. Workflows can clearly show what needs to be done and when, and they can follow the process the whole way through, similar to the flows in the generic Dynamics 365. This has flows where you can see an entire process, and it will track all aspects of whatever it is. So if that's moving materials, if that's including equipment and certain people, it can all be managed very easily in Project Online. Another one that comes up often, so we talked about Zoho Books. So we have finance and operations in Dynamics. I don't have a slide for it, but I'll talk about it a little bit. Finance and operations, it's a very common application that we get requests for demos of. It's more geared towards that enterprise sort of size customer because it is more expensive, of course. But with that cost, you get far more in terms of ability, tools, things like that for you. Power BI is also, again, geared towards that sort of enterprise client where they have tons of data, a lot of employees that are inputting a lot of things. And it's a really cool way to accumulate all of the data that your business has, analyze it, and then put it into attractive, easy to interpret charts and graphs and things like that. Let's see, let me scroll down my notes here. It also, so all of these too, they all link together. So if you're working in a Dynamics 365 and you've got clients, you've got leads, you've got documents related to those that are stored in SharePoint, you've got marketing materials that you've created in your Office apps that are also stored in SharePoint. All of these things can come together, and you can get some insights so that you can improve your business, plan the projects that you're working on to improve business, to grow. So that's very useful as well. Microsoft used to have something called Microsoft Social Engagement. So this is touching on media relations and marketing. They used to have something called Social Engagement. It was very well liked. It had a ton of features, but it was sort of built on a bit of a faulty platform. So they have gotten rid of that, and as of January, they have something called Dynamics 365 Media Insights. And so this is replacing that. So it is your marketing and social media engagement platform. It was in preview in January. I'm not sure where it is now, but rest assured, it is something that is going to be continually improved on to help businesses grow, get out there and get their name known so that they can gain clients and things like that and improve their business. The last thing I'm going to talk about is WebRoot, which is another security system that we use. It is one of the leading antivirus softwares on the market. We've been using it for years now. Super streamlined management. We have a dashboard where we can monitor all of our clients, see all their devices, see the last time they were updated and things like that. And really the most important thing is, of course they do the daily shallow scans, the weekly deep scans, things like that. But what's really important is the real-time safety. So it is constantly monitoring everything that's going on, and it's stopping issues before they even can happen. I can actually say I've had probably 100 or so customers using this for an extended period of time, and I think I've come across maybe 3 or 4 issues that I actually had to intervene with. Most of the time, WebRoot is able to see the problem and take care of it right away so that not even the user knows that something went wrong. So that's really cool, and that gives businesses a lot of peace of mind when they are working on things, because of course, as we all know, it's getting harder and harder to stay safe on the internet. There's more and more people trying to steal your data and things like that. But with WebRoot, it's definitely a great tool to have, and it keeps our clients safe.
Yeah, and I wanted to, and I'm sorry, I like to add something. I kept quiet because of time, but I think we still have some time. The key there was a story that actually woke me up to the need for small businesses to basically be cyber protected. There was a a small business that basically felt like, hey, cybersecurity people or Yahoo boys are going after big business. That was their mentality. And they didn't bother. Actually, they went, if they want to go, I'm actually going to keep it in the Nigerian context, even though it happened in the US. But in the Nigerian context, what this small business owner did was they basically were like, hey, I'm just going to go to Otuoke and actually buy a computer, and I don't care if, and I'm going to buy the cheapest office, and that I'm going to buy. Those computers are not actually, they don't have the proper legitimate licenses. I don't care. It's cheap. I'm going to buy it. So they went and bought this computer cheap at Computer Village, and they were good to go. And all of a sudden, 2 weeks after this, about his life savings was life savings was 10 million naira. That's all he had to run his business. That's the business life savings. All of a sudden, he noticed that 8 million was gone just like that. And he was like, hey, nobody has access to my computer. Nobody has access to my, to my bank account. I'm the only one that's been doing, any transaction. I can't remember basically withdrawing 8 million naira from my account. I will have known, from my savings account. He went to the bank. The bank were able to show that transaction was done on his computer when he was at home in the middle of the night. So the bank basically were like, hey, you did this. We know you did this because it's your IP address. It was done on your computer. And they actually looked at his computer. The record was done on his computer. So what eventually happened was the computer he bought was basically loaded with malware from China. And most of this malware, and in the dark web, there are people that actually sell access to this malware based off regions. So Nigerian Yahoo boys basically have actually contacted those guys that actually built those malware that actually embedded in his computer to basically let him know when there's a new agent online, which is going to be a computer that someone just bought. So once that person basically plugged into the internet, they have illegitimate software running. So Microsoft could not actually protect them because it basically was an illegitimate Microsoft license. That's why it's key to always buy through Microsoft and make sure you buy through reputable vendors. He didn't have an antivirus, and there was no way for them to protect it. So all they were doing was basically watching all of his transactions as he was actually using a computer online. So when he logged into his bank account, they basically have all of his bank account information because they were literally watching him basically log into his bank account. He logged off at the middle of the night. The Yahoo boy that basically took advantage of him basically just logged in, took all of them, cleared him out. So the moral of the story is small business cannot afford to basically buy illegitimate tools to run their business and cannot also afford to not have the proper tools to protect them from cybersecurity wise. It's not the conversation should basically move away from this is too expensive. I don't need this. I'm a small business. No, because you're a small business, that's why you need this. Because you're a small business, that's the reason why you should protect yourself. You cannot afford to lose money. Big business can easily recover from losing 10 million. It's like a drop in the bucket for them. Small business can't. And that's the same thing for enterprise mobility suite. That's more for advanced businesses that want to protect themselves from intellectual property theft. Especially we know a lot, especially manufacturing companies that have a lot of intellectual property, and we know how China is actually out there right now targeting businesses all over the world, stealing their intellectual property. That is so, especially with 5G, and I know a lot of Nigerians are actually implementing Huawei as their 5G provider. It's documented. Everybody basically knows this, that people that actually run Huawei basically report to the PLA, the Chinese, People's Liberation Army, that actually run all of these organizations that are fronting as, enterprise corporations. but they funnel data to the Chinese Communist Party, and they use it to build China. China is not ashamed of it. They actually blatant about it. I mean, that's just the way it is. So companies actually need to basically have these tools to protect themselves and to basically do business in the 21st century. Not only that, I mean, you can even pay Yahoo boys now to actually even steal your competitors', intellectual property. That's where, Microsoft Enterprise Mobility Suite will protect you, because if you have intellectual properties, you have files that is actually business, that actually has business sensitive information on there. You can actually basically designate that file to basically only be allowed to open by a certain person. If you email it out of the company's network, or it's not even going to show up. They're not going to be able to see it. I mean, there's so many ways that we can, the tool actually protect businesses' information and access to that sensitive and critical information as well. So just wanted to make that clear that when cybersecurity is no longer a conversation about, hey, I need to protect my computer from viruses. Those days are over. I need to protect. Now the conversation about cybersecurity is I need to protect my business from being bankrupted by illegitimate actors.
All
Yes, that's a very good distinction. Yep.
Thank you so much, Alex. Thank you, Kumar. There are a couple of people asking on the chat if the soft copy of this training will be available. Yes, first, we're recording this training, so it will be made available to you. And we will also get to the part of how we're going to share, material or, resources on to you as well. So just stay tuned. Moving on to, Alex, do you still have anything to say, or can we move on to the next segment?
No, I guess I just want to reiterate again that the distinction that Kumar made was really good. I should have made that more clear. And it's even down to the point of, as far as protecting that intellectual property. We have with enterprise mobility, we have the ability to even, like, if a device gets stolen, we can send a command so that the second that device connects to the internet, it actually wipes itself, so that that information that's potentially stored on there cannot be stolen. So there's a full range of security groups and things like that to manage who sees what, but then all the way to the end of, if that device no longer is in control of somebody that we trust, we can still manage it and resolve the security risk. And that's it.
Okay, thank you. I think Mr. Adekunle is raising his hand. Do you have a question?
Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Adekunle.
Yeah, thanks, Alex and Kamar. Putting this succinctly was quite good and a bit scary for small business, with the rate at which these guys are just stealing information. Okay, so for small businesses, in terms of, we say we shouldn't mention cost, but in terms of cost, what would they be looking at for basic security?
About $3 to $5 a month. So that's about 200 naira or 300 naira a month.
For real?
For basic security, yes.
Okay, so by taking a notch up, it might just be slightly higher.
Yes, it might be slightly higher, but it's still going to be less than 1,000 naira a month.
Okay, this is of interest because, like you mentioned, most people buy pirated or cracked MS Office, so they're really exposed already. So
exactly.
So you have to start from first buying the authentic before you can enjoy the security, right?
Not really. I will always basically advise that you buy authentic software, but you really don't have to buy the authentic to enjoy the security. But the security can only protect you so much, because you have to understand that The cracked, in most cases, cracked software basically comes with what you call Trojan horses, which actually operate within the software itself. So which limits the ability of any antivirus to protect you, because it's operating from within your computer itself. The attack is originating from within. The most difficult enemy to actually defeat is always the enemy within, right? So that's why I would always recommend the next level. The first level is to basically get, security on your computer. Second level is to make sure that, hey, you get quality software. You also, your legitimate software. So we want to actually make sure we have and it's cheap to do that nowadays. The reason why a lot of people basically feel like they can't afford Microsoft Office is because they're looking at the $400 million. That's a lot of money. That's over that's in today's conversion, that's about 200,000 naira that you have to, almost 200,000 naira you have to use to buy one software. But you can easily basically get an Office 365 license, with legitimate software, with legitimate MS Office license for about 8,000 naira a month. And I'd rather basically commit that 8,000 and look at it as insurance than risk my life savings. And also to add, Microsoft is actually getting to the point where they're going to actually start shutting down all this legitimate software. The technology is actually smart enough now to catch it. I was part of the first generation Microsoft engineers that actually worked on the first generation piracy detection platform. And that was about in 2006. Now that's with AI and Internet of Things, that technology is now becoming very scary, predictive, to where it basically by 2024, 2025, there'll be no such thing as pirated Microsoft keys anymore. It will be a thing of the past, because those AI tools are basically once you hit the internet, they will be able to find you and basically shut you down. Case closed.
Cool. All right. Thanks for that. I think we'll take some other questions offline, but I think I've gotten, because of time. Yeah.
Okay. So let's quickly move on to the next segment, which is going to be chaired by Demilade. That has to do with the deals side of things. Demilade, please go ahead and share your screen.
All right, thank you, Onye. Good afternoon, everybody. Just let me know when you can see my screen.
You can see your screen.
Okay, thank you, Kamal. All right, so I'll be going over the deal registration process quickly. We have a few slides here that can serve as a guide for us whenever we want to register deals. So I'll just run through the slides and we go straight into the demo, so don't waste too much time. Yeah. Okay, so firstly, we'll be sending out invites to all our partners, you guys, to register on our deal registration portal. In that invite, this is what the invite looks like. It will come as an email to you. It has a link for you to route to the portal, and you'll be required to change or to set a password on accessing the portal for the first time. And also here we have a few screenshots, to show us the deal registration page and the case creation page. But to actually, have a feel of that, I'll be going straight into the demo so we can see exactly how these work. Okay, so I already got an email earlier for this account I'm using to demo to you. So I'll just log in.
And also, while Demilade is actually, going through the demo, I wanted to basically maybe give a clearer picture of what the deal registration is. So if you're out there engaging customers and you run into any opportunity or any deal that, that we call opportunities deals, or any potential customers that actually want to basically buy some, engage us or buy something, or we'll need you to basically come to this site and actually register that opportunity as a deal. So that's really what Demilade is actually walking you through. You basically will, it's going to go straight to our CRM, and we use Zoho CRM as well, and we can then track that deal. And the reason why we actually want to have a deal registration process is because we never know who's going to be talking to who at any point in time. So we don't want a situation where there's a collision where two different partners are talking to the same client, and we're not able to actually identify who basically was the first to actually engage that customer. In our own world, the way that we've decided to actually move forward with that is who registers the deal first. So we actually require that every deal be registered. So if you come in and you actually register the deal first, and if there's any kind of collision, then we can any kind of issue where there's a duplicate, or we need to basically identify, okay, who basically registered the deal first, we can just easily basically go ahead and actually assign that deal to the customer, to that partner. I mean, there's other partners out there. That doesn't mean that the partner that lost that deal can't further engage with the prospect. That's not what we're saying. We're just actually going by the specific deal. If you have if you have one of your customers that wants to buy 20 licenses of Microsoft Office 365, and another partner basically runs into that customer that wants to buy 20 licenses of Office 365, we're always going to order the first person that puts in the deal first. And if for some reason you might be able to talk them into CRM, fine, then you register that. We're gonna honor you first, even though the person that we honored earlier might have been like, hey, I'm actually talking to them about that CRM aspect too. I'm sorry, you didn't register that deal. It went to the next person. So that's really, the whole, concept here. I hope it's clear, and we'll take questions after Demilade has actually gone through the deal registration process.
Okay, thank you, Kamar. So to access the deals page, you just need to click deals at the top menu, and you can see list of all the deals you've previously added. This is one I added this morning, but I'll go ahead and add a new one for us to see the process. So I'm not sure we saw that there is a button at the top right corner that has a plus sign on it. That's the button you use to create a new deal. So you need to give your deal a name. This can be a combination of, some things you can just use to identify the deal. So for example, I may want to do something like Dynamics, which is like the name of the product that is being marketed to the customer, maybe / ICIT / let's say 100 users, something like that. But this can be anything, actually, just something you can use to identify your deals. Then what type of business is it? Is it an existing business or a new business? Have we done business with that customer before, or you're just prospecting the customer for the first time? So let's pick new business in this case. Next step, let's say meeting with the CI or with IT manager. Okay, this is, you really can't fill this because this should have your name already filled in, so you can't update that. Then you can fill an amount. Also, this amount field also works like a calculator. So for example, if one license is to cost, let's say 2,000 naira, you could actually put 2,000 multiplied by 100 and automatically calculates 200,000 for you. Then the closing date is, the projected closing date for the deal. Let's just pick a date, 26th of September. The stage, most of the new deals will be at the qualification stage because, of course, we have to review on the back end also. So you can leave that as qualification. Then what's probability of sealing this deal? So let's just put that at 100%. Then if you have any other information that you want to supply for the deal, you can stick that in the description field. That can take as much information as possible. And then you can click save.
And also, just to add, the next step field can also be used to kind of trigger us as well on the back end if you need our help with this deal. So you can basically maybe say next step is to basically have maybe have an ICIT account manager on to join you on a call or whatever it is that you feel like we might be able to help out with to close the deal. But that's going to be on it. We usually kind of help on what we call bigger deals or larger deals. But I'll let Onye address all of that. That's her wheelhouse.
Okay. So we have all the deal information right there. And there's one other thing that you can also create. We have case creation. So in case you have any issue or any problem related to a deal, you can raise a case with us. In some cases, it might not be related to a deal, but I'll just go over that also. You can access case creation from a deals page by clicking the new button here, or you could go to the top menu to click cases. And then just like you have on the deals page, you have the plus button on the right. And then you can go ahead and create a case. So I'll just create a case quickly also, so we can see how that. So you have to select from one of these three types: problem, feature, request, or question. So let's select problem. Case origin. How did this come up? Was it by mail? Was it by phone or web? So let's select email here. This is related to me by default because I'm the contact that is logged on. And if you want to tie this to a deal, you could actually you could select by clicking that button and it gives you your existing deals. Or you could even start typing and then it filters through your deals. So you can select your deal you want to tie it to. Okay. Priority, you can assign priority to it, either high, medium, or low. Okay, status should be new. Then what's the reason for the case? We have user did not attend any training, complex functionality, and so on. So let's just select new problem. And you should give this a select. Okay. And if you want to supply any phone number or email here, you can actually supply also. And we also have a description field there that can allow you to give, detailed information about this. And then click save. So, okay, sorry, this can't be empty. So I'll just supply my email there. All right, so that's basically it. So once you do that, we'll be able to pick up the case from the back end. And if you want to add additional notes to the case, you can also add from here. So that's basically how to create deals and create cases. I don't know if you have any questions for me to address. Okay, I guess that's pretty simple. So if there are no questions, so I'll hand over back to Onye to continue the session. Onye.
All right, thank you, Demilade. And we just have a few more things to discuss, which they're not going to take so much time. The next is on the marketing resources and how you can access it. So I would call on Annie to please help explain how that can go on.